Well, that was just a glimpse of my time in China, and you got to see all the teammates that I was blessed to work with this summer. I want to start by reading a part of my journal entry from the last day, the day I was leaving to come back home. It says, "I cannot explain the emotions I feel right now. Today was the day I've been dreading. I know my purpose in China has been fulfilled, but I have difficulty leaving. There's been a sense of peace and closeness to God that I've never felt before, and I have experienced a deep love for these people. It has truly been a life-changing experience." Going into this trip, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I found this organization, and I signed up to go, and we didn't meet anyone until we arrived in Beijing. So it was just kind of a walk by faith type of thing, because I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and I didn't tell my parents the extent of everything. I didn't want them to worry. So we arrived in Beijing, and because of the H1N1, we were quarantined for a week in a cement building where we got to know one another real close. So it turned out to be a blessing, because it really united our team and brought us together, and we became family, and just prepared to do the work that God drew us there. And during that week, we began preparations and training, and then we also spent a lot of time in the Word. And one of the scriptures that really resonated with why we were there was 1 John 4:13. And it says, "And God has given us His Spirit as proof that we live in Him and He in us." When we first arrived, I knew going into this that China is a completely different country. It's a communist country, and we had all these emails beforehand saying, you know, you need to have someone monitoring what you say in your emails. They'll be able to see them, and they'll be able to hear you on the phone, so you really have to be careful. And when we got there, we're told again that we need to make sure that we were careful, because we want to maintain in good terms with the government. And so it's just, you're like, okay, well, how does this work? How does a missions trip in China work then if we can't utter the word of God to these people? And it really came down to how we loved these people and worked with these people. And so just the Spirit of God is shown in us when we love and through our actions. And that was the biggest testimony to them. I had a class of about 30 students, and most of the people that go through this program are English teachers in China, but they don't know how to have a conversation in English. So you spend 4 weeks with them, and they can only speak English. They're not allowed to speak Chinese, and you're with them all day, and then you eat with them, and you go and you visit them until they go to bed. And so you really just develop a really special bond with them. And so as we were preparing, I didn't know my students, and I didn't know who I was going to have. I was just praying that I was like, God, you know, just help me to have a love that you have for me, and give me a glimpse of what it's like, of your love for me. And just didn't really know what that looked like. And then they came, and they just, the most amazing group of people I've ever met. And instantly we became a family, and they respected me, and they were just genuine people. And my heart just broke for them, because they had no recollection of of who God is. And they're so convinced with their government, and they believe everything their government tells them. Like the one-child policy, they believe that that's the best way, because that's what the government tells them, and they can't love a child more than one child. So that's why. And so just as we taught them, they began asking us questions in conversation, like, why are you here, and are you getting paid, and, you know, aren't you on holiday? And, you know, we were just like, no, like, we're here volunteered, and we had to pay to come here. And it just blew their minds, because they're like, why would you do that? Like, And so through that, they began asking questions like, well, like what, like tell me about your home and like what you do back home. And that's essentially like how we got to share with them. I just remember one of my students she came up to me and she's like, I want to know. She's like, why? And I was like, well, like I came because I felt the Lord leading me here. And she's like, well, I want that. She's like, I want that feeling and I want what you have. And so it was just really, it was so awesome. And not every student we were able to talk and have those conversations, but we at least hope to plant seeds and just be a testimony and just to love them and just show them that we care about them and that they are important people too. And just through that time, God, I just really felt I've never experienced the ability to love those people like I have before. And it was just the love I had for them just made me want to reach out to them even more and just spend as much time with them as possible. And so that's why I go back to that journal entry, because it was one of the most difficult things I've ever done, is leaving that day knowing that some of my closest students are still still not Christians and still just out there in the world. And I just know we're in China, it's difficult to come across God. And so it was heartbreaking to leave, but I just have this sense of peace that God's still working, and it's not done in China. And just faithfully been praying for those students and just for the group that we had while we were there. And I also just really learned over there to live with life with a sense of urgency. You don't have to be in a foreign country to love others and to do what we're called to do. And it was so easy to do over there because they were so receptive, and they had no recollection of what God was. And it was just a humble reminder of that I still need to be doing that here on my college campus and back home, because even though many people in today's society know and may proclaim that they're Christians, they really don't know and don't follow Christ. And so just through this experience, I've just learned and just grown immensely with the Lord. And I feel that my time in China is not fulfilled, that there will be a day where I'll go back. And I found this quote when I got back, and it says, available for God to use me, available if God should choose me. Should it be here or there, it doesn't matter where, my heart is waiting, ready and prepared. And so I'm still here, but I can still be praying for them. And I want to be prepared for where the Lord's calling me and for the work that he's calling me to do. And so I don't want my plans and ambitions to be guided by myself. I want them to be guided by the Lord. So I encourage you all to pray. There's so many foreign countries that aren't blessed with the opportunities that we are, and to hear the word. And so I just encourage you to pray for them, because there's so many people I know in China that want to hear that word and want to know, but they don't have the opportunity.